All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wonderful people. Now, before I go into this video, I want to ask you a question. What if the most powerful president in the world, that is the president of the United States of America, Donald Trump, sends a very strong message to the Finnish government on behalf of Mazi Ekpa and also on behalf of every Biafran all over the world, including Mazi Nnamdi Kanu that is being held in DSS custody. What do you think will actually come out of this? Please watch this video and make sure you share it to as many groups and platforms as possible. God bless you.
Today being the 28th of June of 2025, a lot of fascinating and a lot of groundbreaking events has played out in Finland, in the USA, in Nigeria, and in Kenya. As we speak, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has won a vital case in Kenya. And as we speak, Simon, a man held in Kilamakoski Correctional Center, has also won a big and vital case. Yes, at the same time, the USB movement also has done something nobody in the whole wide world was expecting them to do at this particular point in time. So the question here is, which case did Mazi Nnamdi Kanu win? Which case did Simon win? And what has the USB movement done that will change its trajectory going forward? Well, in this video, we shall be discussing and critically analyzing every single thing that has happened and played out behind the scenes so you can see and understand. Yes. So we don't even know which news to start with. We don't even know where to begin this update. Should we begin with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case or Simon's case or the biggest news coming from the USB movement? Well, we are actually in a big dilemma because this video is fully packed with info, news, and good news. But then, let's start with Simon. Yes, we all know that Simon is currently facing some charges in the Päijät-Häme District Court in Finland. We all know that his case has currently been closed, but then his bail application is in process. So the question here is, which case did Mr. Simon win? Well, for better understanding, take a look at this publication coming from the Deputy Prime Minister of the USB movement in the person of Ngozi Oraboize. When you take a look at this tweet, you notice that the USB, together with the federal government of Nigeria, has opened a fresh case in the USA regarding the way and manner they've operated and regarding the way and manner they actualized this movement called USB. Yes. So in simple terms, the federal government of Nigeria and the USB movement are currently battling in a case, in a lawsuit situated in the USA. So how did Mr. Simon come out triumphant? Well, just recently, yesterday to be precise, we received a clear and distinctive news and article stating that Simon's case or name has been removed from that lawsuit presented by the Nigerian federal government. That is to say, the Nigerian federal government doesn't have any evidence, don't have any info or data against this man in a lawsuit situated in USA, the most powerful nation of the world. Yes, for better context and for a clearer picture, let's take a look at this tweet coming from Ngozi Oraboize that will disclose every single thing you need to know at this particular point in time. This tweet reads, and I quote, "Breaking update on the DC court case against Biafra restoration. United Nations of Biafra versus the Nigerian government represented by ex-BRGI cabinet members in DC court, etc. The USB has engaged the services of 8 professional attorneys and 10 legal advisors in Washington, D.C., America, Europe, and Biafra to engage and confront the agents of Nigeria's government paid to disrupt the independence of the USB movement." This is massive. Yes. So what is the structure of this case? What is the structure of this lawsuit? Well, the federal government of Nigeria linked Mr. Simon to some incidents and to some unrest in the southeastern region of Nigeria. Interestingly, just in case you don't know, this particular case presented by the federal government of Nigeria was used against Simon in the Finnish court. Interestingly, Simon's name has been removed from this court case, meaning that the charges leveled against Mr. Simon in the Päijät-Häme District Court will also be removed because the Finnish court based the analysis on this particular case in DC, in Washington, D.C., in the USA. And as we speak, Simon's name has been removed, which means that the charges leveled against him in Finland based on this analysis and court proceedings in Washington, D.C. will also be striked out. This is a massive one, and this is a big big news for all the supporters and lovers of Mr. Simon, because this has granted him one step closer to eminent freedom. But that is not all. Something is currently happening to Simon's case. Yes, his case in the Päijät-Häme District Court in Finland. But then we'll come back to that in a second. Let's take a look at another mega news, another gigantic news that we have for you in this video briefing. So the question here is, what is this news and what is this update? Well, for better clarity, we received a tweet from Dr. David Yonkorach Matsanga. Showing right now on your screen is this tweet coming from this man. Well, just in case you don't know who Dr. David Yonkorach Matsanga, this man happens to be a lawyer and a human rights activist domiciled in Kenya. Yes, Kenya, the same country that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was abducted from. So this man happens to be a top activist, a well-known activist. And this guy over time has been fighting for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the release of Simon in Finland. Yes, but then just in case you don't know who this man is, who Dr. David Yonkorach Matsanga is the same individual that approached the Finnish president in the person of Alexander Stubb in Tanzania. Yes, the president of Finland traveled to Tanzania to hold a summit. But then this Kenyan activist approached the president of Finland, Alexander Stubb, that summit, and he publicly called out this man. He was asking him, why are you holding Simon in detention? Why can't you release a man who is known to be a freedom fighter? That does not sit well with the president of Finland, and it created a lot of chaos and a lot of scenes in Tanzania. But then that is not the case here. That is not the case. This man known as Dr. David Yonkorach Matsanga has done something nobody asked him to do and something nobody paid him to do. Well, for better understanding, take a look at this tweet coming from his official Twitter page. It states, and I quote, "Nigeria, this sweet victory, release Nnamdi Kanu to go free. Dear President of Nigeria," and it tagged official BRAT. Statement by Dr. David Yonkorach Matsanga, Pan-African Forum Limited and Associates, on the recent court ruling in Kenya favoring Nnamdi Kanu. I warmly welcome and celebrate the recent ruling by the East African courts in the country of Kenya in favor of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, a landmark decision that marks a critical step in the long journey towards justice, accountability, and the rule of law. The judgment is not just a personal victory for Mr. Nnamdi Kanu. It is a resounding affirmation that Nigeria must adhere to the sanctity of international law, due process, and human rights dignity must be upheld regardless of political convenience and affiliations. Well, just in case you don't understand what is currently going on here, Dr. David Yonkorach Matsanga filed a lawsuit against the government of Kenya together with the USP movement. The moment Nnamdi Kanu was abducted in Kenya, this man used his own finances, used his resources, and used his time to file a lawsuit on behalf of the Biafran people against the government of Kenya regarding the way and manner Nnamdi Kanu was abducted from their region. Yes, this case went on and on for a couple of years now. It went on and on for months and months, but now we have a result, and the Kenyan court has given a ruling. Yes. So the question here is, what did the Kenya court do, and how did Mazi Nnamdi Kanu come out victorious? Well, take a look at this article showing right now on your screen. This is a full summary of every single thing that played out. It states, the recent ruling by the East African Court in Finland regarding Mr. Nnamdi Kanu is indeed a significant development in the pursuit of justice and accountability. Here are the key highlights of the landmark decision. The very first one here is ruling details. Yes. The Kenyan court declared that Mr. Kanu's transfer to Nigeria was illegal. The ruling emphasizes the importance of adhering to legal protocols in extradition cases. The court awarded 10 million Kenyan shillings, which is approximately 120 million naira, in damages to Mr. Kanu for the unlawful actions taken against him. The second is context of the case. Mr. Kanu, the leader of the IPOB movement, was abducted and rendered to Nigeria in 2021. This ruling challenges the legality of such actions and reinforces the need for accountability in international law. The third one here is reactions. The IPOB has hailed the judgment as victory, viewing it as a crucial step towards justice for the leader and a broader affirmation of human rights. And the fourth one here is the implications. This ruling not only impacts Mr. Kanu's situation, but also sets a precedent for future cases involving extradition and human rights violations in the region. So as you can clearly see, this is a big one for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This is a game changer. The Kenyan court has awarded him or given him 120 million naira for damages. And this, like I said, was done by this activist and lawyer in Kenya known as Dr. David Yonkorach Masanga. Well, just in case you don't believe anything I'm saying, showing right now on your screen is a full document coming from the court in Kenya regarding the human rights violations on Nnamdi Kanu. When you look closely, you get full updates and you get a better clarity. And showing right now on your screen is the second page of this document that was stamped, signed, and the applicant here is David Yonkorach Masanga, the founder of Pan-African Forum Limited. This is a massive one, and this will go a long, long way. And this definitely will play a vital and pivotal role in Nnamdi Kanu's case come 18th of July of 2025. But now, let's take a look. Let's go back to Simon's case and showcase every single thing and details just currently unfolding and also playing in favor of Mr. Simon. Well, for better understanding, take a look at this publication released by the Deputy Prime Minister of the movement known as Ngozi Oraboize. This was published on the 25th of June of 2025. It reads, and I quote, "Updates from Finland on our Prime Minister's case. Today being the 25th of June of 2025, the case of tax evasion and legal advice issue against our Prime Minister, Simon, came up today in Finland court. The case was trashed within 2 hours. Yes, just in case you don't understand, Simon faced the Paijahame District Court on the 25th of June of 2025 regarding his case of tax evasion. And based out of the article written by this lady, she claimed that the case was trashed within 2 hours. So how is this a good news, and how will this play in favor of Simon? Well, on the 26th of June of 2025, the human rights activist who filed a lawsuit on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu and won, the human rights activist known as Dr. David Yonkorach Masanga, he also filed a follow-up lawsuit and a follow-up petition against the government of Finland regarding Simon's case of tax evasion. Yes, so how did we know? And how did we get to find out? Well, it's quite easy to get information these days. Showing right now on your screen is a publication or a video released by this man. This is the man. This is his face. He made a video on the 26th of June of 2025, a couple of hours or a day after Simon appeared before the Paijahame District Court to answer for tax evasion. In this video, Dr. David Yonkorach Masanga clearly called out the government of Finland. He clearly called out every single individual in the Paijahame District Court, and he also filed a petition against them, asking them that how did this man fail to file his tax? I want you guys to clearly explain the incidents, the reasons, the motives, the agenda behind his tax evasion. Yes, in that said video briefing, this guy, Dr. David Yonkorach Masanga, outlined series of clear data, series of fantastic news, series of important facts regarding Simon's case of tax evasion, and he compiled it in a document, and it was filed against the government of Finland. This is a massive one because this man is well known all over the world as one of the most strongest human rights activists. He's well known from the USA to Russia to China to Norway. In Finland too, he is known to be a very, very relentless human rights activist, a man that can go to the ends of the earth to make sure that any cases he files becomes victorious. So after the live broadcast, the DPM, that is to say, Ngozi Oraboize, had to respond and also had to shed more light regarding the petition and the case he rose against the government of Finland. Well, for better understanding, take a look at the response coming from the DPM, Ngozi Oraboize. Showing right now on your screen is this statement. It reads, and I quote, "Thanks, sir." He was thanking Dr. David Yonkorach Masanga. "How could Finland claim tax evasion from Simon without considering what is classified as taxable income? PM Simon devotes almost 80 hours weekly to save Biafrans being killed by Nigerian government. He survives mostly on gifts from the Biafran people. During the court hearing, Finland government tax auditors classified gifts from Biafrans to Simon as taxable income just due to presumptions and pattern without talking to Simon. This is pure intimidation, suppression, and witch hunts by Finland to assist Nigeria in its criminality and clampdown of innocent citizens and opposition voices that refuses to cohabit with reintegrated terrorists. This intimidation and criminality must stop. And this is a full briefing or response coming from Ngozi Araboize, stating that all the monetary gifts sent to Simon shouldn't be classified or shouldn't be taxed because these are gifts. He did not earn it as an income. It cannot be classified as an income because it's just a gift. Yes. So this is a massive case between Dr. David Yonkorach Masanga and the government of Finland. We don't know how all of these things will play, and we don't even know how all of these things would end. But then there's one thing you need to know and understand. We'll keep you updated with every single thing regarding this case. We'll keep you updated with the latest news and updates. So do well to subscribe and turn on post notifications if you want to be updated when we get full info regarding this case. But then the DPM, Dr. Ngozi Araboize, also made a big revelation regarding Simon's case and how it will possibly end. Yes, just in case you don't know, Simon's case has officially been closed, but there's something going on in the courtroom session. Simon's lawyer has filed a possible bail application asking the Paijahami District Court to grant this man a possible bail. Well, for better confirmation and for a clearer picture, take a look at this tweet coming from Ngozi Araboize and pay attention to the highlighted part of your screen. It states the bail condition will be discussed in the next 2 weeks. The bail conditions will go on and on for the next 2 weeks, and we don't know how it will definitely end. And now, let's take a look at a massive news, a news that did not sit well with some people, a news that sat well with some, and a news that have raised a lot of eyebrows in the Nigerian government and its political system. So the question here is, what is this news and how will it affect a lot of individuals in the Nigerian federal government? Well, take a look at this picture showing right now on your screen. What can you see? Well, from the very first glance, you see, I can see a lady holding a foreign note. Yes, she's holding 4 notes of 2 different denominations. And this lady looks very cheerful and very happy. But then take a look at this other picture. What can you see in this particular picture frame? Well, when you look at this closely, when you zoom into the very first picture or the very first denomination to see what you can find, you definitely find the face of Ojukwu. Yes, his face is clearly written in one of these notes, and this note is 100. We don't know which currency is this at this particular point in time, but this is Ojukwu, his face embedded in a note. And this note, the back page, it's written loyalty to God. But then when you scroll down, you find a different note, and this time around you find the face of Simon embedded in a different note. Yes, and this note is the one denomination, and also it's for the same country and for the same purpose, written loyalty to God. So the question here is, which note is this? Which currency is this? And where is it coming from? Well, for better understanding, take a look at this picture frame showing right now on your screen. As you can clearly see, this lady holding this note is Ngozi Araboize, the Deputy Prime Minister of the movement. Yes, as we speak, this lady has unleashed a new currency that will be used by the Biafran people. Yes, she has launched a currency that will be introduced into the system. So the question here is, which currency is this? And which country is going to use this? Well, this is actually very simple to understand. Based out of this picture from showing right now on your screen, that we can clearly see the face of Ojukwu and we can see the face of Simon. This definitely has to be the currency of the USB nation. This is actually very clear to understand. Yes, and then when you zoom into one of the notes, you will see that it's written United States of Biafra. Yes, this is a new currency that has been unleashed, officially unleashed by the Deputy Prime Minister. Yes, so what is the name of this currency and what is the value and how will it be introduced into the system? Well, for better clarity and for a clearer picture, showing right now on your screen is a tweet coming from Ngozi Araboize, who happens to be the Deputy Prime Minister. This tweet reads, and I quote, "Breaking, United States of Biafra, Ejema, signed, sealed, and delivered. I told you all, the United States of Biafra USB currency, Ejema copies printed by one of the best and top minting company in the world. Biafrans, we made it. Be happy. Thanks to the USB Secretary of Trade, Commerce and Industry in the person of Honorable Jonathan. Ejema to be in the world market and Biafra land very soon. 1 EJ is equals to $1. This is massive." She also went a step further to give a quote coming from Simon, which states, "You will sleep in Nigeria and wake up in the USB of Biafran land. And this quote is a popular one coming from Simon. She also gave her name, her position, and the body she represents. Yes, but then, interestingly, this did not sit well with a lot of individuals domiciled within and around the USB movement. This did not sit well with a lot of people because when you take a look at this note, something is missing. When you take a look at this currency, a face is missing, and that face is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's face. Take a look at this. Pause this particular part of the video and observe it closely. His face is not here. Maybe his face will be introduced in a different currency. Nobody knows for sure. But as we speak, and right now, based on the official release of this currency, his face has been excluded. So this did not sit well with a lot of lovers and supporters of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And that is why they went to the Twitter page of Dr. Ngozi Arabueze to state or to make their vexation known and to be widely heard by every single person involved. Well, for better understanding, take a look at this tweet showing right now on your screen. This tweet is coming from an individual known as Godfrey Eze, where he states, "Here is a copy with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's picture." He was asking the Deputy Prime Minister, please show me a copy where we can clearly see the face of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, moving on swiftly, a user known as Smart Tribune wrote, and I quote, "Madam Woman, trying hard to discredit genuine freedom fighters." Yes, and somebody known as Obuefi of Abuja stated, and I quote, "Very confused people." And the user known as John Nwachineke stated, and I quote, "Where's our leader's head?" And this sort of comments went on and on. A lot of individuals do not buy the idea of making a currency without imputing or without embedding the face or the head of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Many supporters of the USB said that if you don't use his face, if you don't use his picture or his symbols, we are not going to buy this idea of a new currency. We don't know how you guys came about this whole movement. We did not cast a vote. We did not ask you guys to create a new currency, and nobody was clearly informed. So if you don't put the face of our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, nobody will take you seriously. And this is coming a couple of hours back from the Deputy Prime Minister. Yes. So many believe that this woman known as Ngozi Arabueze is very authoritative in nature, and she doesn't seek the permission or the contributions from the USB people before she makes any conclusion or makes any findings. And this is a massive one coming from the movement of the USB people. Anyways, moving on swiftly, let's take a look at another massive news coming out from the southeastern region of Nigeria. A news that definitely will send a lot of fears and shivers into the heart and many individuals in that country. Well, on the 20th of June of 2025, a very close friend of the DPM, a very close friend of the Deputy Prime Minister of the movement, Ngozi Arabueze, was appointed into a top political position in the USA. Yes, a very close friend, a very, very close friend of Ngozi Arabueze has been made a US political leader. So the question here is, who is this individual and how will it affect the USB going forward? We'll take a look at this picture shown right now on your screen. Let's take a look at these pictures first before I give you a full info and a breakdown of this photograph. As you can clearly see, we have a lady, a white woman, together with Dr. Ngozi Arabueze. Showing right now on your screen is a different photograph taken on that said day. So how is this a good news? Well, take a look at this publication coming from this lady, the DPM, which it states, and I quote, "Breaking. Congratulations, Kendra, for winning the DECAB Republican chair today being the 19th of June of 2025. Kendra takes over from Mazi, our beautiful ex-chair that moved to the White House on President Trump's appointment. Thanks also to Dr. Joyce, who acted as the interim chair before today's election. United States of Biafra will have a sound political process." So as you can see, a close friend of this woman has been appointed into the White House, and a close friend of this lady also has been appointed or given a role in the Republican Party in the USA system. This is a massive one, and this will go a long, long way because now she knows that she has friends in the US political system.
All right, that is that on the issue of Mazi Simon Ekpa, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and everything happening in Biafran land. But before we round up with this video, because I don't want to go further into it, we've actually been experiencing a very huge problem in Biafran land, and this is because of the fact that the so-called governors representing us in our various country, in our various states in Biafran land, have actually contributed a lot to these harmful and dreaded Fulani herders. It's crazy that our land that used to be very peaceful, our farmers goes to the farm, our mothers goes to the farm, to plant their crops and also harvest it. You see that a lot of issues, a lot of attacks, and there is a disarray, in Biafran land because of these herders. It has gotten to the stage in Ebonyi State, Enugu State, and Imo State. You see, these three particular states are the major places that these Fulani herders are actually feasting on, and this is because of how the governors, the so-called governors of these states, have actually supported directly, not even indirectly, directly supported these Fulani herders, because of the fact that these people are working for the zoo agent, and these agents are only interested in making sure that they destroy Biafran land. At least people are beginning to see truth in what Mazi Ekpa Njoku was saying concerning the zoo army, and also these so-called bandits and terrorists who claims to be herders. People are now seeing the reality of the words of Simon Ekpa, because you can currently see that somebody like VDM is now coming out to expose the atrocious act of these people. But like I said, this is not the major reason why we are here. We'll keep on giving you more information on things happening in Biafran land, especially pertaining the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and also Mazi Simon Ekpa. God bless you.